Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of GNN. Today is August 17th, 2023, and we have a brand new banner on our hands here. So, before we get into the details of our brand new mobile suit, let's go over some news. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't heard already, we are still in the 5th year anniversary campaign, and it's slowly drawing to a close, which will be next week on August 23. So if you haven't done anything to celebrate the new awesome birthday for GBO2, I know I say it's new, but the birthday of GBO2, its 5th year, man, got a lot of catching up to. So we had the High New and Nightingale campaign already, so unfortunately those banners have gone for now, but they are still in the gacha pool there, so if you want to try to get it, all I can say is good luck. On top of that, we have some battle simulator mission updates already, if you guys are unaware, but more importantly, the event for 80 free supply drops is still ongoing, so by all means, definitely jump onto that. We love free stuff. We're just recapping all the stuff currently for the 5th anniversary because we are now in the final phase, the final volume right now for the special step up supply drop, which gives you a chance for 3-star suits. Basically, the more you try, as they say, the higher possibility of 3-star supply drops for a maximum 5-top drop rate. But yes, that is ongoing right now, and for the login rewards right now, there is the volume 4 for 5 select custom parts, so everybody gets 5 select parts that are pretty cool. On top of that, we also get additional supply parts or custom parts based on your login days on console, so really cool for sure. And part of those parts are basically the level 4 frame. This is the new frame level 2, thruster control level 2, I believe, no, 3, excuse me, leg armor 3, and high spec cruise control. So very useful parts which I use in all my builds, but basically definitely don't forget to pick them up because you have, I believe, 60 days to redeem those, so don't let it sit and go away. Right now, we are also in the last phase for the 5th anniversary celebration. The last limited reward is for the Dullahan level 2, which would bring it to 450. So I'm very curious to see what the specs are on it. As always, just like Pokemon, completely different franchise, I have to have them all. So I've already done the Dom one. We also had the one for the Zaku, the Jigen Type D, which is now 550. And now the 450 Dullahan, which originally was a Halloween special, if you guys didn't know. And of course, if you guys didn't know, there's special anniversary token packs already, and also planned reward leveling rewards if you haven't done already, which I think haven't done if you've already collected all your 5-time stuff, because there is a limited time for that as well. So, on to the main portion. Our awesome banner suit for our main event tonight is the Hyaku Shiki Kai ground type. So this is a very cool looking suit. I like the dual antennas here, but we'll get into that shortly. Here is the 3-star boosted supply drop that I mentioned earlier. All of them are 3-star materials, so you can also get 3-star suits and also parts and all that fun stuff. Dupes as well. So really cool. We always look at discounts. Discounts are good, so you do have a discount at that first step there. Jumping into the DP exchange counter, we now have the level 2 version of the O, which is basically the 700 being added, and both the level 1 and level 2 Nero trainer, so 450 and 500 respectively. So that's pretty cool. Alright folks, jumping into our main event, we have the Hyaku Shiki Kai ground type. It's a 2-star 600 cost support unit that's obviously only usable in ground, hence the ground type designation. It is a mobile suit for aces developed by Kuraba, the ground Earth variation of the Anti-Earth Union Group. Very similar organization meant to combat the likes of the corruption made by the Titans at the time of the Grips conflict. Basically, Zeta, if you wanted to watch something and kind of correlate that to the animation. But basically, it was basically produced in small numbers to supplement GM2 and the Nemo's lack of firepower against the new line of Titan mobile suits out there. It is based on the high-spec performance of the Shiki Kai and has its space equipment omitted and replaced and redesigned to specialize in ground combat. And it's actually pretty cool. I haven't had a chance to take it out yet. I got lucky in my pulls, but we'll get into that shortly. I'll save that rant for the detail breakdown. But yeah, it's only usable in ground. It's able to adapt to most environments, and even in deserts and other local warfare zones. Apparently, there also is a bug currently with the suit right now. When the beam hitting on its chest shows a reflected animation, while this mobile suit has no skill resisting beam attack. Basically, it's just a visual bug, but the actual weapon function is normal. So you're fine. If you're doing 10 pulls, you do get a chance to get Judao Ashita's normal suit from Double Zeta. I guess that's what they have it on there, so both the normal suit and the pilot helmet. If you don't have this and you want to add that to your collection, well, this is your chance for your 10 pulls. So on to the nitty-gritty details of the new suit. Alright folks, here we are with the brand new suit. As I mentioned, 600 cost support. It is a priority 1 2-star suit, which actually has lower HP comparatively to another cannon suit that literally comes to mind, which is the Just a Cannon here. Very similar in terms of utility, and I totally lost the suit. There we go. We're also looking at mine being modded, so we're looking at pretty much 30s in the distance fighting category, both ballistic and beam, although with the Hyaku Shiki line, they always have a leaning towards beam resistance, which is pretty normal. It is 32 instead of 33. Mine, as I mentioned before, is modded with some tuning. Low melee resistance as per expected with supports. We're also looking at a leaning towards range strength, kind of pretty obvious, with a little bit of melee strength. We're also looking at pretty fast movement speed, and as I mentioned, I am literally in my mind comparing this to the Just a Cannon, which is also a pretty notable 600 cost support, but we're also looking at a little bit faster speeds too, which can probably attribute to the fact that, yeah, the Just a Cannon has a lot more durability, heavier armor. We're looking at something that has been sort of labeled as a very maneuverable suit with the Hyaku Shiki line, and the fact that, you know, it's supposed to be flexible like that, so the stats reflect that sort of thinking, that lore. Also 60 in thrust, very similar, and turning speed is a little bit faster. Not by much, but in roughly the same category. Jumping into the weapon loadouts, we have a specific beam rifle that it uses. It does have a attached railgun, which we'll get into in a second. That's actually a sub-weapon. But the beam rifle itself is a ammo-based weapon with 2,000 power, 350 meters effective range, so not quite a long-range weapon. It is more short to mid-range at the most, which is pretty nice. 18-second reload time with 6 seconds in between shots. Definitely does give it some nice punch there. The beam saber itself comes in pretty strong with 2,300. I think most suits that are at around that cost range are around that same ballpark range, even more. We'll look at this Jigen just for the hell of it. I don't have the... well, I do have the level 3. So yeah, 2,200. This is 23, so pretty crazy to say the least. Well, at least in numbers. And if you're fighting against advantage type folks like the generals out there that are unaware of this, they probably chunk pretty well. Also has modified head Vulcans. They don't do a whole lot of damage, but great for something to do while you're waiting for everything else to cool down. or, you know, just fire on the move. I mean, these are pretty great, but they're not going to be great up by themselves, so pretty self-explanatory there. Mid-range beam cannon is cut off at 450 meters, but we do have a nice chunk of damage at 2200 as a base. The heat rate, though, is 85, so you are going to be juggling other weapons in addition to that, because overheating this is going to be, you're going to be feeling it with the 20 seconds there. This also has a 3-tube missile pod, which has an incendiary payload. To throw that into the mix there, it is guidable as well, and has that dot damage, but again, we're dealing with long reloads on this one specifically, and a 4-second cooldown time, so you might be able to fire one or fire them all at the same time, but there supposedly is a 4-second cooldown time interval between that. Let's see. Might be a typo, at least from what I saw in practice. We do have the chest missiles, even though they've called us as the shoulder grenade launchers. 400 base power for 6 shots at effectively 250 meters or bullpup range. No cooldown shots time between the shots there, as well as a 12-second reload time. So you're going to probably be running this a lot as sort of the means of juggling your long reload weapons there, as well as the handheld stuff too. So you can probably combo off of that pretty well. But yeah, nothing super out of the ordinary. I kind of figured this would be kind of similar to the Shiki Kai's grenade launcher missile arms that they have, and some of the other suits that have that similar mechanic as well. Jumping into the last sub-weapon, we have the railgun on the main rifle there. Base of 1800, which is pretty nice. It does chunk almost similar to the same amount of damage, and in addition to that, it's kind of like a nice get out of jail card for free because it is ballistic based. So this might actually do a lot more damage to some of the suits that are running a little more higher beam resistance there. But the 7-second cooldown time between shots and 15-second reload time does kind of it does kind of add up. It's not as severe as some of the other weapons that you have on the suit, but considering that the Vulcans and the grenade launchers on the chest are the only semi-faster weapons that reload pretty quick, you're gonna have to be very aware how you're positioning this, especially with the way that suits are at 600 cost. Last but not least, you do have a ground type shield to go along with it, which is very reminiscent to the looks like the GBO4 shield, if not the same, but not as durable as some of the other general type shields out there, but it does add up in a way to where if you're able to angle pretty well, it does help out in your survivability. So we'll see how that fares, but the more important part is the lovely shopping list of skills that this has. So you have pretty standard support stuff too, like the level 2 radar, scope, observational data link, pretty simple. You also have a frontline support system on this, so this is I mean, it's nothing super crazy, but you're seeing this pretty often. It also has anti-jamming. I don't know if anything in 600 does that a lot, but this can definitely help out for some of the suits that are slowly being brought into 600 as well. You are looking at quick boost, level 3, like shock absorber, like I said, pretty standard. Also, a fun fact, this has balancers. As we slowly go down here, this is always a nice thing. So that means if you like aggressive play, this is, it almost seems like, based on these two already, even throwing this in there, which I'll get to in a second, it definitely feels like something that would be right at the lines or right behind the lines very closely, almost as a alternative to like the Delta, maybe, in a way, in the sense of aggressiveness. And you can play it, you know, as you're mindful of everything, you can pretty much crush people with this suit. It's not super special because it is a 2-star, but it definitely seems like it's a lot of fun. I've seen the downswing. It's nice. On top of that, you do have optimized cooling efficiency and force injector level 2, so this will definitely help with thruster consumption and jumping, I do have a configuration right now that actually has a little more boost. Unfortunately, this does top out at 190, so a lot of the faster raids and generals will give it some problems if we're looking at it from a drag race type of standpoint. So definitely a good amount of healthy boost might be viable for something like this, just so you can kind of play keep away and reposition from harm's way, especially on, say, something like city ruins. But in open areas like the tropical desert, hard to say. But we'll see how this plays out. Alright folks, that concludes tonight's news on our brand new Hyaku Shiki ground type. If you guys enjoyed what you saw here and found it informative, please do not hesitate to hit that like and subscribe button. I'm very curious to see and hear what you guys think about the new suit, if you guys pulled for it, if you feel like it's greater than what it is as a 2-star, because we've been surprised by strong 2-stars out there. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Helps out the algorithm as well. So, with that said, that's it for tonight. I'll see you guys all on the next video. Take care.